Hello and welcome to Hate Clarity. I'm your host, Lindsay, and today we are doing an Akashic Records reading on the heart. This is H week of the alphabet superset. There will be more information in the description box below about the alphabet superset. Thank you to everyone who voted on the heart for H week. Each week at the beginning of the week, I will post the letter of the week and some suggestions of topics we can open the records on, with the option of suggesting one of your own. So you can vote each week on a topic. So this is H week and the choice was the heart. Next week will be I week. So we'll see what we want to open the records on for next week. So for the heart, I'm glad we opened the records on the heart. I'm glad that that was the choice that came through. All of the options were great and top of mind. This felt right. So we're going to be asking the questions, inviting in whatever the opening message or opening visual is, asking general foundational question from the Akashic Records perspective, what is the heart? Then how powerful is the heart? What are some benefits of the heart that we might not know of? How can we keep our hearts healthy? What do our hearts need now? And what's the most important message? So note that each week when we choose a topic, you are welcome to include your questions. So you can comment on any of the videos and just say what you want to ask more questions on based on the topic of that week. So feel free to provide your questions for the topics as well. So these are the questions for the week. Let's get into it. So the opening message and the opening visual was, even as I was saying the opening prayer, which I said off camera, I was seeing like an eclipse, and I got the words like eclipse of the heart, like that song, Total Eclipse of the Heart. And I just kept seeing an eclipse. And it was like the ring of this eclipse was pink. It was like passionate, like almost neon. So we'll see how that opening message or opening visual plays out in the rest of the reading. So they're repeating it again, eclipses of the heart, eclipses of the heart. Oh, they're saying that's happening for us now. We're having eclipses of the heart, like these eclipses are affecting our hearts. They're saying like grief, the heavens, the soul connections, the ground, the grounding. Eclipses of the heart, it's like bringing us back to be grounded, grounding us. It's grounding us in like the warm earth. They're saying like Venus, love. Eclipses of the heart. That's what's happening for us now, is these eclipses are eclipses of the heart. We are experiencing collective eclipses of the hearts. It's the opening message. What is the heart from the Akashic Records perspective? What is the heart? They're saying like lifeline, blood-centered, soul-centered, material form, soul-centered. What is the heart? They're just like blood heart, pipeline, lifeline, floodline, flow of life. The center, the main centered point, centered place. We're saying blood-centered, soul connection. Anything else? What is the heart? That's it. Bloodline, lifeline, bloodline, lifeline. Interconnections, the core center. They're even saying of soul connections. So like not only of like the body and the workings of your body, but your heart is actually your soul connections, your hearts of connection. So match connections, like when your hearts connect with people, those are your soul connections. And it's kind of like everybody else is not that. Soul connections are heart-centered. whether it's bloodline, they're saying family line, they're kind of like, yeah, and the soul-centered connections, like our hearts. When our hearts are like warm and open to the connection with someone, when our hearts warm and open and expand and grow, those are our soul connections. So they're like, it's very important for you to be with your people, with those soul connections. It is very important to find those warm connections, like your connections, your soul connection. So they're kind of saying like your heart is in a state of contraction and feels cold and isolated and sad and grieving and lonely. It's like you need your soul connections. Like they're saying it's very important for you to find your soul connections. So they're almost showing like someone walking like in New York City, and there's a crowd of people on the sidewalk, just like these like flows of people, and they're kind of like, they're showing one person standing still and all these people passing through them, and it's like grabbing onto your soul connections, like as there's this like force of people in your life that flow through you, flow past you, flow beside you. Like it's like keep these things flowing. Like they're saying like searching for the connections, like keep searching for those connections. Like you need to find each other, like find your connections, your need for connection. It's like they're just saying it's very important for you to find your people through the flood of people in your life, in your lifetimes, because they're kind of saying magnetic, like you're magnetic and repelling, and they're kind of saying not personal, not personal, not personal. Like stop taking the yeses and the nos, the rejections and things like personally. They're just like, you're literally just like kind of like you need to be more fluid with the letting go and the releasing of people and partners and family members. They're just saying like it, like right now it's like of vital importance to be finding those soul heart-centered connections. Your connections, they're saying spirit connections. They're saying it's of vital importance to find those people. So they're kind of like right now it is very important that you are finding like warmth in your connections. If you are not finding warmth, if these are stressful in kind of any way, then you need to put those connections and those relationships aside. You need to distance yourself, you need to detach, you need to separate. It's like very important. Like just have it clean. They're saying clean, like no drama. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Just allow yourself to like separate and like navigate through. They're saying like your problems with people, just let it be, like set it aside, set it aside, set it aside, set them aside, set them aside, like release them, cut them off, like whatever you have to do, because there's like a desperation for like those warm, loving connections. Like our hearts are like, they're saying like screaming out to find those connections. Safety, home, to feel at home in your community, to feel safe, to feel at home in your community. And so they're like, don't worry about the problems, like don't worry about the problematic people, like kind of like get away from them, like go where your heart is asking to be taken, like go towards your people, go towards your people. They're saying like no negotiations, like don't negotiate with your heart here now. Like be here right now and like check in with your heart and ask yourself like where your people are, who your people are. And they're showing someone like kind of in their mind going through a database and like flipping through people's faces, like is this person a yes, is this person a no, is this person a yes, is this person a no. They're kind of saying like if you feel like you don't know, like sit in silence, sit in meditation, and like ask your heart, like checkpoint with all the people in your life. Like if you feel very like scrambled in your brain, ask your heart, like check in and be like, hey, like how do you feel about so and so, and wait for your answer and listen. Like do a lot of listening to your heart right now, where to go, what to do, what not to do. They're saying ask your heart, like these are your soul connections. It's like I'm seeing like a network of so many of us like like this network, like all over the planet, like, but it's coming from our hearts, and we're just like, our signals are out from the heart space, like trying to find each other. But there's a lot of like chaotic energy coming like from our heads, and we're not like necessarily like checking in and asking our hearts, like, who are your people, where are your people? And they're saying, go there, like, and consider that an achievement, like make it a goal, make it an achievement to like find your people, give it a deadline. They're kind of like, you've got like, you know, work and hustling and all these things, like I have to do this and I have to do that, and they're like, well, let's make this top of the line. Let's prioritize that. You need to ask your heart, where are your people? Find those connections. Where are they? Where are you going? Because that's what we're doing right now. They're saying movement. Like, ask about your movement. Ask about where you're going. Whoa. Okay, so they're going into the most important messages. I have all these other questions, but I just feel like that like really had to come through. Thank you. How powerful is the heart? 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 They're saying it's like a beating drum. It's a beating drum, like energetically, like the life force energy. It is felt in silence, subtle, profound. It's almost like a secret. It's almost like a secret weapon, like the power of it, because it's so like, they're kind of saying like under wiring. Oh, wiring. So this is the wiring. It's under the wiring. So it's under all the wiring here. So we've got all this wiring, and like under the wire, like under the wire. Signaling movement. So it's like we're feeling globally, they're saying, and beyond, like our hearts connect really, really far. And that's why this like soul-led, soul connection, need to ask your heart is so very important right now, because they're saying that they're kind of saying like the mind and like media and technology and wires, and like there's like our wires, like this is like really, really, they're showing like metal and tight and tense and twisted and like it's like jammed up. But here it's clear. Here it's really clear. And so that's why they're just like, ask your heart, because our hearts are telling us things right now. Our hearts are telling us like about connections, and they're like, you aren't listening to your heart. Like many of you people, human beings on the planet, like you don't listen to your heart at all, exclamation point, ever, exclamation point. And they're like, and then you wind up, they're kind of saying like less powerful, but like fake powerful. They're like, you could be so much more powerful if you listen to your heart. They're kind of saying like all of you, but you don't. And so they're saying start. Maintain being. They're saying on the planet by listening to this beating drum. They're like the indigenous, the heartbeat, the womb, the earth. Beating drum, rhythm of the earth, rhythm of the planet, cycles of the earth, cycles of the planet, cycles of you. These cycles, like we need to get back in touch with our beating drum that's in our chest. This is our soul connection to like everyone and everything. They're saying soul, like living, soul, breathing, soul connections. It comes from the heart. So they're saying, ask your heart. So how powerful is the heart? They're saying global and beyond. This beating drum is global and beyond. The heart, this like sinking of the heart is global and beyond. And like we feel each other in the heart space globally and beyond. What are some of the benefits of the heart that we might not know of? They said skipped. What are some benefits of the heart that we might not know of? Skipped a beat. What is that? How is skipped a benefit of the heart? When your heart skips a beat, it means pay attention. When your heart like acts up or acts out of balance, you notice it. It's give attention to it and ask your heart questions. It's like almost like the desperation, like beyond, almost like beyond repair, they're saying. Like it's like when your heart goes out of its natural rhythm, like accidentally, they're saying, like by accident, involuntary, voluntary. Unaware of something, and you need to listen and ask your heart. They're kind of saying like we get really tripped up, and like when our hearts start, because we're so detached from like asking your heart questions about your life and about your surroundings and your environment, people, they're saying when your heart starts like tripping up, skipping, doing crazy things, it's like they're kind of saying it's almost too late. It's like you need to ask your heart. And it's like in those moments, like people are like, oh, I'm gonna go to the doctor and get medication. It's like, yeah, and ask your heart. Like what? Like there's a huge alarming, they're saying like attention. Like you need to, if your heart is doing things, you need to ask your heart. Like it's like desperation. It's desperation of the heart to get your attention. And people still don't ask their hearts, like, oh, like, sorry, like what? You know, they're kind of saying like by the time it gets like that, it's like too late. So benefits of the heart that we might not know of is like, okay, so it's pulsing in this rhythm. Like our hearts are pulsing at this rhythm. We have this very specific beat of a heart. And when it's off rhythm, we need to be asking it. We need to be asking our hearts to give us, and then just listen to whatever it needs to tell us, whatever it means, whenever that happens. Because it's like, there's like this syncing of all of us, you know, having this rhythm, this beat together. And then they start tripping up and it's like, something's up, something's up, something's up. So there's, again, they keep going back to ask your heart. How can we keep our hearts healthy? They just said movement, circulation, breathing, like the blood flow, dancing, walking, striding. So they're showing running, but they're showing someone with like a long stride. Like it's not about the speed. It's not about the pace. There's something about like stretching your legs, like almost like they're showing like someone with a long stride, like stretching your legs like a gazelle. It's like, I'm kind of getting like, you know, it's not stupid. It's like we judge ourselves so much on like how we look versus like what our bodies need to do to move. And so it's like, there's so much judgment about like, how do I look? Like I look funny if I run like this, or I look, and they're just like, yeah, but your body is asking you to kind of stretch it out. Like I need like a lengthy stride. So it's interesting. They're not saying jogging or running or sprinting. They're saying striding. Like having, there's something about like having the legs, that movement of like stretching your legs out and like expanding like I'm getting like the veins and the nerves and the muscles in the body, like pulling them by having these like strides. This is so specific. By having these strides with our legs, they're saying even like stretching them, but it's about movement and circulation and blood flow. like we need to have more circulation in our legs. Like we don't move enough with our legs. And so it's really important, like collectively, for us to be moving our legs specifically. This stride, it's like, it's almost like they're showing like all the nerves kind of like curling up in our legs. They're like, well, you have to like give them the length and the stride for like this, all these nerves and veins to just like expand and like lengthen, and like they need to be flowing. Such a specific thing. They're saying arms too, but there's like a lot with our legs. They're showing us sitting in chairs. They show us sitting in cars. They just show us like our legs are kind of like bunched up, is what they're saying, as opposed to like lengthened and stretched out. So we need to do a lot more with our legs. So how can we keep our heart healthy? It's like they're saying more movement, like be more movement. But like listening to your body and like what it needs when you move, and like don't worry about judgment. They're kind of like, fuck that. And like they're like, fuck them. They're like, you know, you have to tell yourself like that you're not bothered by what people think with like how you move, because you're moving the way your body needs to move. And they're saying it's like, it might seem like an unconventional way, but it's actually completely natural. Like we just are so stupid about judging each other and giving each other a hard time. But you need to move the way your body wants to move, like whatever that means. You know, they're showing someone like, you know, laying on the floor, like rolling around back and forth, like, hey, your body might need that. You know, like they're kind of saying like, put yourself in positions on the floor, on the couch, like in places, you know, stretching your arms up in the air, like shaking things out, like shaking your face. They're just like showing all the things to do, like taking a minute to listen to your body and be like, what do you need? What do you need for movement right now? Like for blood flows, for circulation. So they're saying being present to the body is like good for the heart. So that the heart, there's like, it's just like, it continues, like they're saying there's more of a continuation of the blood flow. It can go like, you can circulate further and further into the body if you are like stretching out and moving and dancing. And they're saying like eat healthy. They're saying healthier, like they're like, you know what to do and what not to do. How can we keep our heart healthy? And they're just like love. They're saying love things, love animals, love plants, love people, just love up on things. Like find the things that you love, the people that you love. Like they're saying just this appreciation, the warmth, like bask in the things that you love, so that like your heart can like open and expand and feel warm. Like whatever that means to you, like wherever you find that feeling where your heart is like a flower blooming and it's just like receiving the warmth. They're saying that is love, is like opening the heart. The opening of the heart is where your love is like how your love, they're saying like it creates, it opens, it blooms. So the importance of, they're saying to be centered and warm. It generates and regenerates. Nurturing, nurtured, blooms like a flower, like the flowers. And they're like, if you need to sit yourself into a guided meditation where you see your heart as a flower blooming, they're saying do that. And like check in with your heart to see like, what kind of flower is it? Is it a flower? Is it something else? Is it a bud? Is it in full bloom? And they're kind of like saying like the cycles and the phases of flowers, right? So it's like there could be grief and sorrow, and so the flower might not be a flower, might be something else. If you're closed off, there could be things like chains or thorns around your heart, and they're like, that's okay. Just like look at it, like where is your heart, and like can you look at it and ask your heart, like what do you need to be in full bloom? What do you need to be an open heart? And then they're saying, give that to yourself again. Ask your heart. What do our hearts need now? What do our hearts need now? Grief, grieving, flowing of grieving, like get the grief flowing out, like spilling out, spill out the grief, spill out the grieving. They're saying spirit, spirit, talk to spirit to help, talk to spirit to help with the grieving. They said be prepared for it. Grief and sorrow and sadness. What do our hearts need now? They said be prepared for it. What do our hearts need now? They're saying like joyful and laughter to like break up the tension in our chest and the grief in our chest. They're kind of saying like be briefed pre-grief, like laugh, like find the ways to laugh, like comedy, laughter, stand up, like friends, joyful, jovial, be with people in community. They're saying like make a commitment for laughter. And then they're saying like achievements of the heart, joy, achievements of the heart, laughter, joy, achievements of the heart. They're saying be of the achievement of love and heart-centered. So they're saying like if you're striving to be something right now, if there's a worth and a value and a belief system to adopt, the achievement is love. Like work towards love. It's like the hardest work to do right now. They're saying it's very hard to do right now amongst the chaos and the chaotic movements. And they're like, if you can squeeze in moments of feeling love, giving love, or being in the feelings of love, like truly, deeply, it's the most worthwhile achievement that you could possibly accomplish today and tomorrow. So that's what our hearts need now. Love is the achievement. Achieve love. Make it a priority. This is your deadline. This is your top priority. Love, 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 love. Giving of love. Wealth of love. Giving of love. Receiving love. Giving and taking love. Giving and taking love. But it's like, there's like the reciprocity of it. Like fill it up, fill it up. If you've got a lot of love to give a lot of love. If you need a little bit of love, ask for a little bit of love. Like if you need a lot of love, ask for a lot of love. Like I'm getting that like, this is also like the weeding through the soul connections. It's just like, oh, like don't be deprived of love right now. They're like, no, like please do not be deprived of love. If you are deprived of love, wherever you are, if you're deprived of love, you need to find those people in the world that love you. You need to connect to those people and those people need to connect with you. Like we need to be pulsing the beat, the rhythm of love. And so find each other. And if you are in a disconnection, put it aside. It doesn't matter. It's not important right now. The only achievement that we need to be doing right now is focusing on our hearts and feeling love and giving love and feeling loved, warm, open, expansive, growing, the blooming flower. So check in with your heart. What is it looking like today? It could be anything, right? And wherever it's at is perfectly fine. It's the check-in. And then you look at your heart and you say, okay, well, how can I get this heart to be a blooming flower? How can I get it blooming and growing by the warmth of the sun, love, right? They're saying like God, Son, love, God, Son, love, God, Son, love. Like they're putting them all together. Like this is what our hearts need. Do you need to go in the sun? Do you need to just sit in front of the sun? And they're saying receive that love. They're saying if you connect to a higher power and you call it God or anything that you call your higher power, higher being, connect with that love. If there are people, animals, plants, like any other living beings in the material world, connect with that love. like all the ways that you need to feel that warmth, that open, and that expansion in the heart, go do that. Go to the heart, they're saying. Go to the heart, ask your heart. Bloom, 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 expand, open. What's the most important message we need to know right now? That. They said that information. That is the very most important thing to do right now. Being in the energy of love, feeling love, sourcing love, feeling the source of love from the Sun, God, or living beings in your life that are emanating love. And energetically, just saying, if you are full of love, they're saying full, to be loved. If you are filled up with love, then give love. Like go out and give love. And they're saying it's like, it could be in the smile on your face, the good morning, the have a good day, that warmth resonates. And it's almost like, you're felt, in your place of love. Your energetic field of love is felt, and it can go farther if it comes through the voice. So you could say anything, or even they're even saying the vibration of a smile, in the eyes, what happens in the eyes when you see someone, when someone feels seen, you look into their eyes. Heard, how are you? They're saying very basic, very brief. It doesn't have to be like a long-lasting conversation of any sort. They're saying it's the simple details, the little things. They're saying, the little peaceful ways, the ways to be peaceful. They're saying give it back. If you got it, give it. And if you need it, ask for it from your loved ones, your loved ones. And they're saying, they're kind of saying like no one's alone, like no one has no one, no one's truly isolated. They're kind of showing someone like maybe like off grid somewhere, feeling very like lonely and isolated. And they're like, well, you have spirit around you. You have the sun, you have the trees, you have the plants, you have the animals. If you're in a place where you're feeling very disconnected from the people around you, they're saying you can find the nurture in nature. You're never alone. And also they're saying your spirit, passed on loved ones. They're saying meet the guides, They're saying don't ever believe that you're alone, because it's just not true. You are always surrounded by the love that you want and that you seek. And then they're saying, and also don't forget that there's a lot of love within yourself, and that we generate our own love, like we regenerate. And it helps to have the external love, right? This flow, the fluidity, the reciprocity of the giving and the taking of love as well. So yes, that it comes in faster that way, but you can also regenerate and generate love within yourself. You can call it in and find it with spirit, with plants, animals, etc., like the earth, right? So they're saying like wherever you are, like no matter what, you can be loved. You are to be loved. Wherever you are, no matter what, you are to be loved, period. There is no lack of it, but there is a mentality, a belief system that closes you off to it or shuts you down from it. So they're saying, open to be loved. Open to be loved. Okay. So that is the Akashic Records on the heart. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time.